What is up, everybody? How you doing today? We've got a interview for you. This is going to be our first Monday interview. I've moved these episodes to Monday to try and get a little bit more ears on these episodes, and we've got a special guest coming on the show. Let's bring him in here. Yeah, Mr. Cole Skreen. How you doing, sir?
Not too bad. How are you doing?
Good, man. So you are part of Guilty Golf.
Yes. Yep.
And so give everybody the 5 minute, 2 minute, 30-second spiel on what Guilty Golf is, and then we'll get into some talk about it.
Yeah. Basically, we manufacture golf grips, and we saw a gap in the market essentially that there was nothing with anything as far as designs go. Similar to putter grips, except obviously you're swinging them at 100 miles an hour, so you need them a little bit more durable than that. And so that's kind of where the idea formed and where it started.
So when you reached out, I said, tell me a little bit about what you guys are about. And after reading what you wrote, I was like, yes, we need to get you on the show. So tell everybody that story. It's a great story.
Yeah, so basically, I needed some new golf grips. I had some old leather golf grips, and I'm in the Northwest, so we get a lot of rain and water. So they're pretty much flaking and falling apart. And I really wanted some camo golf grips, and I really couldn't believe there was no such thing as a camo golf grip that was actually molded directly in, similar to all the other grips out there. So I started doing some research and looking into it, and really there was nothing out there on the market. And so I started reaching out to some manufacturers, thinking that was probably going to be the hardest part about the whole process was finding somebody to even make this and bring the vision to life. That was probably actually the easiest part. Within a day or two, I was talking to a few different manufacturers and quickly realized that I definitely didn't have enough money to get this started on my own. And so I basically, got the designs for the most part ready, pricing everything to that extent. And then I started playing one of the most expensive golf courses in the Portland metro area, which is called Langdon Farms. And from there, I took me about a month or two, and I met my now business partner Nick, and him and I have pretty much formed and started this thing and grown it to what it is today. But it definitely was another, I come from a sales background, and so I played, a couple times a week, essentially telling people about the idea and, trying to find somebody who had the same kind of passion and thought as I did. And it took about 2 months and talking with a lot of different people, but I eventually met somebody who was pretty close in my age and was ready to dive in with me and bring this vision to life. And so that's basically how we started for the most part. From there, it took quite a while to go through the whole process. Obviously, you gotta, get a mold, and then once you approve the mold, then they'll actually put it into production. So there was a little bit back and forth. What kind of sizing do we want? What kind of standardization do we want to do? And then from there, they basically, will send us out a bunch of different designs and a bunch of different stuff for us to approve. And that's basically what got the ball running and started the whole thing.
The designs are sick. I mean, they're really good. They're very unique. Everybody that I've been showing, the ones that I got on my wedges. Last night we had one of our. I run a golf league called Vegas Golf Network, and we had our welcome to the 2023 season event last night. And so I had them on display so everybody could see them. Not one person wasn't like, "Wow, these
Okay.
are awesome." So it's a good grip. I got them. I haven't been out and played. I last night it's indoor simulator place, and so I was just swinging the wedges like crazy, just getting a feel for them. No glove, and felt fantastic. So what made you go? Okay, let's do this because the hustle is awesome. I love that story. Trying to find a business partner. I mean, brilliant idea, by the way. Absolutely brilliant. Great way to go about it. But what did you think you could do different? That is it just the designs, or do you have more involved in the path going forward?
So we'd like to get more in depth, obviously, try some different compounds, try a little bit of everything. But as far as what sets us apart from people right now is going to be the designs. We wanted a grip that really kind of looked different, and you made it so you could, add a little bit more customization to your golf grips without having to go get, a whole new set of clubs, or without having to do some other changes where you got to really tear the club apart and put a different ferrule on it, or, you can do the head covers and all those things. But we wanted another level of customization, and I believe that people our age, my age, they're looking for other ways to express themselves out on the golf course. And grips is one of those things that's been pretty much the same for decades. And so we thought there was a decent avenue there that we could create a new product, build a brand based off of that, and then eventually probably move into some other spaces too. And that's kind of where the name Guilty Golf came from. Is we thought we could market it a lot better than we could, a grip company, if we just were so and so grips. Obviously we're Guilty Golf Grips, but as the company grows and expands, we'd like to, move into other stuff as well. Once we've kind of really maximized what we can do as far as the grips go.
So the Guilty Golf is how did you come up with the name? What's the concept behind it?
So we just thought, it's a guilty pleasure. It's something, you're out there golfing. There's probably 10 other things you could be doing instead. And so that was kind of the thought behind it. And we also believe that we could, market it and it would speak to people because, a lot of times when I'm out on the golf course, there's a lot of other stuff I could be doing rather than golfing. But I'm out there with my buddies having a good time and playing golf. And there's nowhere I'd rather be, but it's still, to some extent is a guilty pleasure. And
so,
yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. That I love the name. It's simple. I love it.
Well, thank you.
So when did it start? How long you guys been around, and how's it going so far?
Yeah, so it started. We launched the product about a year ago, and it's going good. Big part and thing that we struggle with is the eyeballs. So getting the exposure. Like you said, people that buy the grips love the grips. We've never had anyone return anything. We've never had any complaints about the grips for the most part. And so we know that the product is good and it speaks for itself. It's just really getting the exposure and getting people to try the grips out and to feel them. And so I try to do some local events and bring clubs to where people can really swing the clubs and feel the grips and those kind of things to grow it. But I totally lost my train of thought.
So how long has Guilty Golf been around?
Yes. So we started the company in early 2021. So I think January of 2021 we incorporated it. We did filled out all the paperwork. We were talking with manufacturers. We pulled the trigger back, probably March or May of 2021, and that's when they put them into production and got the molds going and everything. And so from there, it took, probably 6 months to get the initial batch of grips made. And then as soon as they were about to ship, the Suez Canal thing happened, and they sat on a boat for a couple months.
Oh
so
no!
It was, it was a few different things. So we had them sit there for quite a while, and then we decided to fly them because they weren't moving. And everybody, I think, had the exact same idea. So then they ended up, for some reason, getting routed through Vancouver, British Columbia, and it sat on the tarmac there for another month. And so it was, a whole process getting the grips. Thankfully, our second shipment came a lot better and a lot quicker. And that one we did put on a boat, and that's how we will do it.
That had to be terrifying.
It was, it was definitely unfortunate, especially because golf had grown so much during that window of, COVID and right after. It was like we wanted to get them as soon as possible. But that's just part of starting a business. Is you're always going to have things that get thrown in your face, and you got to adapt and figure out best practices and best way around it, essentially.
We're Nish and Chris, two very amateur golfers on a quest to play the top 100 courses in the UK and Ireland, after Chris set this challenge on a drunken Saturday night in my kitchen. Join us on our frequently humorous journey of a lifetime as we grapple with the logistical and financial challenge of playing some of the best courses in the world, as well as grappling with our games, because let's face it, it's never just about playing. Sometimes the score matters too. Listen to the Top 110 Golf Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
So how many, if you had a number off the top of your head, how many players you think are out there with Guilty grips on their clubs?
Oh, geez. So I've always said, it's going to be an awesome day when I go to the golf course and I randomly see somebody using my golf clubs or golf grips. And that happened the other night at a simulator place. I was playing with some buddies and talking to some guy at a different bay, and he ended up pulling out his golf club, and it was my grip. And so I thought that was pretty funny. I ended up, giving him the matching towel and matching hat. But as far as how many we have out there, we probably got 500 to 1,000 people using our grips every day, and that's just from direct to consumer orders. As far as distribution channels, I don't even know how many might be out there using it. We send quite a bit of grips to Switzerland as well as South Korea.
Really?
And so those are kind of, I'm still working on some local distribution, but so I'd hope that there's over 1,000 people out there playing with our grips at this point.
That's awesome. That's up for being a little over a year old. Well, yeah, a little over a year considering when the first shipment came in.
Right.
That's pretty good, man. So who's the design creator? Who's the brainchild behind that?
So it's a little bit of all of us. I really wanted a camo golf grip, and so we really kind of spent some time figuring out the best camo. We wanted it to look a little bit different, but we also wanted it to still have enough texture. So we didn't want too big of camo splotches. So that was a big thing, and that's kind of why we went with the camo design that we went with, is because finger placement and where your hands are, you're still going to maximize the grip with the club. And so as we grow, I think next thing we're going to add more colors. So if you got a color preference, we'd like to start doing some polls and asking people, what they would like to see going forward. Because we can do a ton of different colorways with our grips, and maybe do stuff based off colleges or based off other things. People really tend to like the Guilty Vice grip, which is that blue and pink floral one. Kind of like a Miami Vice vibe. It's so that people tend to really like those colorways, and so we'd like to really engage with the community and figure out what they want, and then go from there.
Yeah. So I know the Portland area is huge golf. The PNW area is there's Golf Homie and Fades and Fairway and tons of people up there playing some amazing courses, and of course it's really close to Bandon, one of my favorite places on the planet. How's the community support been for you?
It's been awesome. We definitely have a good community up here in Portland. Like you said, the Golf Homie, Fade and Fairways, those both, I know those guys personally. They've been awesome. But as far as community goes, I've never, had a bad experience per se. So anywhere you go, everyone's friendly. I tend to like to walk on and, be that guy that joins groups because I want to tell them about my golf grips and I want to tell them about, and so, but I've met a lot of these guys through, Muni Kids also, which is downtown Portland.
Yep.
And they do the street golf. And so I've met a lot of them, and Wildwood out in, Scappoose area, which is just a little north of Portland. They used to host an event called Muni Madness, and you essentially had about 30 people hitting the ball at the same green at the same time, and it was a lot of fun. So that's kind of where it all started and where I really made these connections. And we hadn't even launched the product at that point; it was still in kind of a prototype phase. I had a few samples on my clubs, but as far as actually having grips, they were sitting there waiting for us to ship, essentially.
So how many of there are you in the business?
In the business, there's 3 total. So it's me and Nick are the main 2, and then we have another one whose name is Elijah.
So what's the breakdown of what you guys your involvement?
Yeah, so I pretty much run the day-to-day for the most part. So I do, for the most part for the Instagram, as well as all the reaching out, emails, all those kind of things. As you can see, we started a conversation together. Elijah tends to do more of the design aspect and the product development stuff. That's kind of where his expertise is. And then Nick is more of the marketing guy. So that's where his expertise is going to be.
Nice. Okay. So I ask whenever I interview somebody from a golf ball company or talk to somebody from a golf ball company, my first thought is, you're stupid for trying to get into a space that is dominated by the biggest brands in the world. Golf grips, kind of the same area. There's some mighty big players.
Yes.
How do you guys feel you can handle going up against the big guys like that?
Yeah, that was a big thing, starting this company and taking on some people that have been in the industry for over 100 years in some cases, such as Golf Pride. It's, it's definitely a task. A lot of these manufacturers are owned by Eaton, which is essentially owned by Golf Pride, or they own Golf Pride. So finding one that wasn't owned by them was kind of a struggle, just because potential to grow and expand and not have Eaton, the same company that owns Golf Pride, own us essentially would be, a big thing. But as far as it goes, I think we're bringing something new, something different to the golf course. I think Golf Pride has its niche, or has the bulk of the market, but we don't really, we don't need everybody per se. We don't need to sell 50 million golf grips a year. We just, I want the people that do buy them and play with them happy with what they're getting, and I want them to tell their friends, and I think it'll grow over time. And once people actually feel them and put them on their clubs and play with them, I think they will understand, hey, this is just as good of quality, if not better, than what you can buy at the store currently. And so I think, the fact that we're doing something different gives us a little bit of an edge to some extent. But it's definitely a thought in our minds that these are the biggest golf grip companies in the world essentially, and it's a very big market, and most people will change their golf grips once a year. If you're playing regularly, it's probably good to do it twice. But for the most part, I think there's room for more people, and I think people like and appreciate smaller brands that are out here trying to do stuff and make things happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on this kick right now where I'm trying to kick the big brands out of my golf life and find more of these, phone call.
Right. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good, dude. Try and find some more brands that, are smaller and have a little bit more passion for the game individually, and like are excited when somebody has their stuff. I'm sure one of the executives from Golf Pride, if they're in a golf simulator and they see somebody with a Golf Pride grip, it means nothing to them. So that's what I like. That's dude, he's got my grip. That's awesome. So
it was definitely a cool feeling. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, you're fine. So how do those companies? Their budgets are insane, right? And their research and development is probably crazy just as well. So how do you feel like you guys can stack up? I know you're not trying to take their market share. I'm just curious because a lot of people are going to ask, hey, this is a grip. Why should I change? And so how do you feel like you guys can compete as far as what's going into the grips and how they're being made?
Right. Well, the beauty is they've spent all that money in research and development that I can then piggyback off of, right? So I can take essentially what they've done and what they've implemented and use some of that to our advantage, to where I can make a grip of the same quality that just looks a little bit different. And that was kind of the whole basis behind it. That's why when we went through the manufacturing process, we chose to do, the highest quality blend that we could possibly get. It costs us quite a bit more. But again, we want to provide that end line customer with the feel that they would get with any other grip. And so that was huge for us, because I don't want people getting the golf grips and then realize, these suck, or these aren't what I expected them to be. And we have a lot of people that will order one grip and we'll ship it out, and then they'll come back and order a full set. And so I think that's where we really, exactly. And I think that that's where we really would do us justice to have some more storefronts and have some more places where people are already there looking for golf grips, can then go and choose our golf grips. Whereas, seeing a golf grip company online, you can never, unless your friend has them or something along that, you really don't know what you're getting. And so I understand that. And I understand that the consumer is most likely thinking that when they're on our website looking at our golf grips. But as far as like the research and development goes, over time and as we grow as a company, we'd like to put a lot more time and effort and money into those. But currently, it's we need to get the company to a place where we can.
Yeah.
We'd like to experiment with different compounds and different, essentially different grip styles. We got we have the standard and the mid-size, but we'd like to offer more than just a rubber golf grip.
So how often are you guys like brainstorming about stuff like that? Because I know you can get content. Like, oh, we're doing well. Everybody's buying our grips. We're moving product. This is nice. But how often are you guys like, I just had an idea for this, or let's try this? And do you get together, and is there a level-headed person that goes, no, let's stay the path? Or are you guys all let's do it. Yeah.
To some extent, they kind of keep me leveled out because I'm that guy. I'm like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, and I gotta stay within my means to some extent. It doesn't help that like the MOQs and so like minimum order quantities and the amount of grips that we have to order doesn't necessarily allow us to just do a one-off or really mess around with it as much as we would like. And again, as we grow, we'll be able to do that more. But in the beginning, it's really we have to be very strategic about the money that's coming in and the money that's going out. And so every dollar essentially has a purpose and a place. And as we grow, we'll have more to kind of test over here and test over there and really experiment with it. But for the most part, those two keep me level headed because I'm the ideas guy for some extent, and I just want to do everything and some of it I've made a lot of mistakes I'm sure in the past year and a half or so, and it's a learning process. And so the amount I've learned in the past year has been tremendous, and I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful that I have the opportunity to grow a brand and a product and see it grow over time.
Nice. So, average player, let's say won't say average golfer, above average golfer that plays 2, maybe 3 times a week. What's the longevity that they can expect to have with the grips?
So it depends on maintenance, really. I've had my grips on there since beginning of summer, and we're in the Northwest, so most of the year I'm playing in the rain or very cold and wet. But it just comes down to personal preference. Mine are still pretty tacky and still good, and so I think it comes down to the care that you take, how you take care of them, and then just personal preference. But most of the time, you're going to get at least 6 months out of them. And if you're in a
Nice. All right.
warmer climate, you should probably get even longer.
Oh, good. Yes, warmer climate. Vegas, very warm. I'm sick of the cold. I'm ready for the heat to get here, man.
Yeah, talking to you about cold. I'm in Portland, Oregon, so it's like 45 and cloudy out today, and that's what it's been the last 6 months or 4 at least.
Okay, so price point. Let's talk money. How much are you guys selling them for? Do you have discounts for multiple purchases? What can people expect when they go to the website?
Yeah, so the way we have it set up is we kind of have it like a tiered price structure because we offer free shipping on all orders. And so if you're buying 1 or 2 grips, it's going to be $15 a piece. And the reason, again, like we do that because we cover shipping. And if you're ordering 1 or 2 grips, that shipping cost takes a bulk of that margin. And as you order more, the price goes down. So if you're going to order a full set, you're looking at roughly about $12 a grip. And so that we've really kind of found that's the sweet spot. It's competitive with what's out there. We're not the most expensive, but we're not the cheapest. And we found that people will pay a little bit of a premium in order to get a product that's different than everybody else.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of the whole point of it was we just wanted, when I went to go buy new golf grips, I didn't want the same ones that every single person had. And so I was looking for some camo ones or something a little bit different that fit my style. And I really just couldn't find anything. And so that's kind of where Guilty Golf was born, and it's grown into what it is today. And we're looking forward to see what it's going to grow into in another 5 years or so.
Do you plan on doing any just solid colors? No patterns, just
we'd like to eventually. I think the thing with that is, there's already people out there doing it. And so we wanted it to be different. We wanted to kind of do something that hasn't been done yet or isn't being done. And so that was kind of the process behind it. But we would like to even do some of our designs right now without color because they would, I've seen them and I've gotten some that are, just blanks essentially. And they even look cool and different. And I think, it'd be something a little bit different. But eventually we'd like to offer, multi-compound essentially. So like the corded grips, as well as just standard solid colors.
So how many SKUs you got right now? How many different variations?
So we have about
on the web
10 total, I believe, at the moment. So that's with our 7 main ones and then the midsize now. And so we didn't do all of them in the midsize, but they are currently in the works. So we should have the rest, the floral ones in a midsize here soon.
And what's coming down? What's next?
So currently we've sent a lot of grips out to some professionals. So we'd like to really get a professional golfer out there using our grips. I think that'll give us some credibility. I think it'll show people that, hey, these are the quality that we say they are. And so that's kind of next is working on partnerships and figuring out how can we get this brand out to the world without giving all of our money to Facebook and Instagram.
Right.
And that's been the struggle, because it's, you can pay them a ton of money and get the exposure, which is what these bigger brands are doing. But me and my buddy started this company. We don't have millions of dollars to throw at Instagram ads and influencers to promote our product. So it's really finding people that see the value of the product and like the product enough to want to go out there and promote it for us. And so that's kind of what I've been working on personally, and just trying to figure out. And again, like I said, it's taught me so much about business, about marketing, and everything that essentially is included with the business, that we really have been trying to find other avenues to get exposure. So that's what's next. We'd like to do more designs and keep adding to the roster essentially. So that would be in the next year or two. We'd like to add a few designs every year if possible, now that we have standard and mid-size. And then from there, it's going to be going into some other stuff that we're not quite sure what yet, but we think that the grips are new and novel enough and different that that's going to get us a lot of the eyeballs, and grow the brand. And then we'll be able to start incorporating other things that have had a lack of design in, that we can maybe spice up a little bit.
All right. So how long have you been golfing? How long have you been playing?
Oh, geez. So on and off my whole life, basically. I grew up, my grandparents lived on a golf course, so I would always do their, summer kids lesson thing. Is like a few days long. You go for an hour or two a day. And so that kind of taught me the fundamentals. I played once or twice in high school with some friends, but I really picked it up during COVID, when there was literally nothing else to do. And so that's really when I started playing avidly. I think, first time I went and played during COVID, I shot 125 or something like that. And so I was, it was fun to be out there. I think I drank more beer than shots I took, but so that probably had to do with why I shot how I did. But yeah, I mean, I've been avidly golfing for a couple of years now, a little over 2.
We have a love-hate relationship with the million new golfers to the game. The majority of them drive us absolutely insane. But this is a great story. You're doing something more than just going out there and pissing off old golfers. You're actually bringing, a product to the table. I love it. It's great.
Well, that was the goal.
So,
I mean, I've always wanted to start a business. I just never really had a product that I was confident enough to start one with. And I always told myself, once I think of something, or once we come up with a product, I'm going to jump in and make it happen.
So let's talk golf space here. What has been your biggest surprise starting a golf brand in the golf space? What's something that's kind of, surprised you?
So not a ton has surprised me, I guess. I'm trying to think of that, honestly. There's been a few things that I've been taken back by. A lot.
That was next. So
okay, so like a lot of right now, what I've been reaching out and talking to a lot of distribution channels and those kind of things, and a lot of those are ran by people probably in their early late 60s, and people that maybe not see the value in the golf grip. Why would we do that? And so it's trying to get the vision across to the people that actually have the control to make these decisions that we've struggled with. And so that's, you'd think some local businesses would want to help out other local businesses to some extent, but again, it's not always about that. So I think that's kind of what's taken me back the most. But I do think that it's a time where so many people have gone out and started businesses in the golf industry that it is getting flooded to some extent.
Very much so.
And so that's kind of, I think we're different enough to where it's not like we're, selling the same product as everybody else, because we do have something quite a bit different than what most people have to offer. And I don't want to throw any products out there in particular or anything, but it's definitely, over the last 2 years, I've seen a ton of golf businesses come up, and I'm one of them. So it's like, I can't hate on them for just trying to make their dreams come true as well.
No. So I saw Butsy got some grips.
Yep.
Josh I've known him for a while.
Okay.
I was happy to see that he has some. How's his feedback been for you?
It's been good. We sent him out some grips. I've been talking to Butsy since we started. Essentially, he gave us a follow a while back. But he really only plays mid-size, so he wasn't really interested in trying them out until we had the mid-size grips in. And so once we got those, we sent them out to him, and he's been a big fan of them ever since. And I think he's expressed that to people, and it's also opened up other doors for us. So we've sent some grips out to a few professional golfers and some other people that I think follow him, and that's kind of opened the door for us to some other places. So he's been a great partner, and I love that guy.
He's hilarious.
So I'm looking
absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm looking forward to see what happened. He lives down in Arizona, next to my sister too. So I'd like to link up with him eventually when I get down there.
Nice. How often do you go to Arizona?
Not often enough, honestly. I haven't been. It's been about a year since I went last, so it's been a little bit too long. I'd like to get down there here in the next month or two before it starts warming up. But eventually, we'd like to relocate the whole business to Phoenix.
Oh, nice. Hey, Vegas has some really good tax rates too, by the way. Just
okay. I think the main reason it's not even so much about the taxes. I mean, that's part of it. But the main reason is it's just very hard to go out and shoot content and really do stuff when it's cloudy and nasty out every day. So that's been the biggest struggle is we really have to optimize our summer times to where, okay, we're going to go do photo shoots. We're going to get enough content to where we can post throughout the entire year. Whereas, we just tried to go out the other weekend and every shot looks different because the cloud cover is different, and it doesn't help that it gets dark at 4:30. So that's that's why we've been playing a lot of simulator golf lately.
It's the way to do it.
It is awesome. I'm a big fan. It's 75 and sunny.
Yeah, right. Every time. Okay, so how much golf are you playing now?
It depends.
I know I'm sure you got a real job because and not everybody gets to just quit their job and start their dream. So I'm sure you have a real job. So how much golf are you getting in?
So at nights I can play the simulator places. I'll do that a couple times a week for the most part, and then every weekend I try to get out at least once for a round of 18 holes, even if it's a little rainy or whatever it might be. But yes, I do have a real job. I'm in sales, so that's kind of my background and what I've been doing for the last 10 years or so. But it's given me the ability to learn how to talk to people and build relationships and go out and find a business partner. And, that's another sales job, essentially. I had to go find somebody and sell them on my idea. And, it didn't take too much selling, but it's definitely, a balance of things. I think you've kind of realized that over the last week, us trying to find a time that works. And
it's not easy.
It's not easy. So eventually, I'd like to be a full-time job, and I'd like to get the grips out of my living room because that's currently where they're at. And
I saw that photo the other day.
And I think people want to see a little bit of behind the scenes. Part of me wants to put off this persona like we're some big established company, but the other part is like, this is real. This is who we are. We run this thing.
Be you.
We run this thing out of my living room essentially, and doesn't change the quality of the golf grips. It's just will be a little bit until we get to a point where it's in a warehouse and we can have.
Hey, there's a really huge predominant company called Ping that started in the garage. So there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
So
be true, be you. Don't everybody will appreciate that.
We had a lot of comments in response to that video, so I think people do like seeing it. It's just I have to do it essentially. I feel weird doing it to some extent, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah.
Just because I don't necessarily know how I like my face being out there in front of everybody is, seems a little arrogant to some extent. But at the same time, it's like if I'm not going to do it, who else is going to do it? So that's the battle I play with myself quite a bit.
Okay, so I got to ask because you're in the P&W. Have you been to Bandon?
So I have not played Bandon. I have not had the opportunity to play yet. All my buddies have, and I'm jealous. I've been down there. I've been close. I've played a bunch of courses around it, but I've never had the opportunity to actually play Bandon. So hopefully in the next couple months I can get down there for a couple days. And
so good.
So good. What's your favorite course?
Trails.
That's kind of what I've heard. Bandon Trails is the best, but I've heard Sheep Ranch is awesome. Old McDonald, I heard they're all awesome. So
they're all amazing. Joe and I went when the co-host went and did the solstice this last year. It was his first trip, and he was blown away. And I mean, anybody can rank them, all the courses and whatever. And I don't think there's a wrong ranking.
Yeah.
because everybody loves them for different reasons. And I'm the same way. I his favorite is Pack, and mine is Trails, and we both understand why. So it's just such a special place.
Right. It's all subjective for the most part. It's I think my buddy was just down there last weekend, and I think a big part of it is the conditions and how well you play. If you play super well on one, obviously you're probably going to have a little bit more of a keen thought towards that one versus
Yep.
one that you didn't play as well on. But he said it was pretty much 40 miles an hour wind, and the rain was coming down
Oh,
sideways. So
you have to check out on the Breakfast Ball Instagram page that I got a video of us or Joe teeing off on 16 17, and it was like 50-mile-an-hour winds just coming straight up off the cliff.
jeez.
It was insane. That was our last round of the day for the solstice, and those coming home holes were all in the north wind, and oh my god, it was brutal. But
So how did you like
so
the
much.
the solstice event? I'm on the wait list, so I'm hoping one
Yeah,
day I get the opportunity to do it. But
that was my third one, and it's amazing. It's such a cool thing to do. I mean, it's stupid. It's stupid to play that much golf and walk that many holes in one day. But it's like it's a marathon,
yeah,
and back in my younger days, I did a lot of running, and I never understood people who ran marathons. But once I got up to where I was running distance running, I'm like, I get this now. So it's just a different way to experience golf.
yeah.
I think it's a blast. You're out there all day. It's not really about the score. It's about the experience, and it's a challenge to see if you can physically do it. And you hurt like hell for 2 days afterwards, but 27 miles and playing golf it's a lot.
Because you played
But
4 courses, right?
yeah, we start you start at sunup pretty much. As soon as you can see the ball in the fairway, people are playing, and you just go until you're done. And when we got done at Sheep Ranch, still a ton of daylight left, and so we went over and played played the preserve barefoot.
Okay.
And so we did 85 in one day, and it was a
Jeez,
blast.
that
It was
sounds
an
awesome.
absolute blast.
I never
Yeah,
even
I
heard of it until I saw Adventures in Golf. Right, well, I pretty much watched every single episode of that show at one point, and that's kind of how I heard of the abandoned dunes, and I found out about Seamus Golf, and so when you played it, did you take like a half set with you, or did you have your full set of clubs, or
no, I took a caddy. I have a caddy. I'm not insane enough to carry my own clubs. But no. So I think I left two wedge. I carry 4 wedges, so I think I left 2 wedges at home. So probably had 12 in the bag.
okay,
But yeah, my buddy of mine, Scott, it was a looper up there. He actually just relocated to Vegas, and so he done the solstice event for me twice. I just enjoy it. It's fun. I want to be able to make it through, and I don't want a bag of clubs holding me down.
right? That would be tough to carry a full bag for 4 courses.
Yeah, Joe used a pull cart, and I mean, but there's people that do it, and I was like proud. I'm like, I got a chip. I'm like, this is my third time, and then we're hearing people, oh, this is my 6th time. Oh, this is my 8th time, and then there was some, I don't know, he's probably in his late 70s that he's been to every one since they started it. It was his 11th time, and I was like, and you carried your band because I think it was his grandson. Yeah, and he carries too. And I'm like, some people are just wired differently.
Yeah,
I'm not.
built different.
That's not me.
No,
That's not me. I'm like, no, he can carry them. I'll hit him, and we can all walk together. So it's a good time.
I don't normally carry my clubs. I have a push cart, and that works pretty dang good for me. And if I'm not in a golf cart, it's I pretty much only will take a golf cart if it's if we're trying to do some filming or we got a bunch of cameras with us or something. But I know those aren't available at Bandon. I think that's
Yeah, no carts.
yeah,
No carts.
no carts. Same with up Chambers Bay is one I haven't gotten the chance to play yet, but I'd like to get up there and play. And there's so many golf courses here in the Northwest that I'd like to play before I end up moving. That it's like I have to play them all before I move. So it's
Do you have a time frame for when you guys are moving it?
no, we don't. It's kind of just been in discussion. So it's nothing's set in stone, and we may never. But ideally, we'd like to be somewhere where there's a little bit more of a golf scene. We have a great golf scene here in Portland, but more of a professional golf scene, and a place where we can really utilize the outdoors year round.
Yeah. Can't go wrong with Phoenix, man. That place is massive.
We've thought about Florida, but I think it's the humidity and I wouldn't want to have to worry about a hurricane every year.
Yeah, and once you've been on the West Coast, I'm born and raised in Vegas. I've been out here my whole life. So anytime I go back east, I'm like, I just don't understand how people live like that far away from the time zone that I'm in. It's so weird. It's I don't know. It like for me, football on Sundays starts at 10 o'clock. Get up, you have some breakfast, you kick back, you watch some football. Back east it doesn't start till 1. I was like, what do you do? What are you doing? Monday Night Football goes on till midnight.
I know, that's
this is
crazy.
so weird.
Yeah, that's
so weird.
But no, I mean, it's I do love the Northwest. It has a special place in my heart. I can go up to the mountain and ski and snowboard, and I can go to the beach in the same day. So it's we're very blessed being where I am and growing up here, because it's given me the ability to try so many different things, from surfing to snowboarding to golfing to I don't know really what you go out and do in the desert besides dirt biking and those kind of things, but it's
that.
Yeah, pretty much that. And
pretty much that. Hike and off-road. Yep, that's about it.
Yeah, I've done some hiking. It's not my favorite pastime, but it's it's something I will do. But I'd rather go out and walk the golf course than go walk up a big hill.
Yep.
So
I agree. Well, tell everybody where they can find you at.
Yeah, so on Instagram, Guilty Golf, guiltygolf.com. Check us out and go buy some grips.
Yeah, exactly. I will attest. I got some for my wedges. Put them on. Absolutely love them. I'm playing tomorrow. It'll be my first on course action with them. Everybody last night at our event was really impressed with them. I know I'm waiting to hear from UST Mamiya because they just came out with some new dart shafts, and I got a demo one, and I really like it. So I'm waiting to find out if I'm going to go to all new shafts before I fit the rest of my clubs with them. But I've been a Lambkin guy for years, and I didn't think I was ever going to find a grip that would take those away, but I think I found them.
Well, hey,
I think I found them.
That's what we want to hear. And one by one, it'll happen. And, more and more people will get to try them and see people like you using them. And then they'll be like, okay, well, maybe I'll give it a shot. And a lot of people will start with one or their wedges and kind of go from there. So,
yeah, and I'm going to be putting in a bulk order so I can have them in the shop, because I know once people start seeing them, they're going to be like, I want those. And then I'm like, well, I've got them. So they will be there for people to get them installed. So, hey, Cole, I really appreciate you coming on. Thanks for taking some time out of your busy life and schedule to tell everybody a little bit about your brand. I can attest, man, order some grips. You're going to like them. We're going to be keeping an eye on you and looking forward to seeing what you guys got coming down over the next couple of years.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks for having me on. It was a pleasure. And like I said, it's my first podcast ever, so I'm a little nervous, but
congratulations.
Hopefully it doesn't sound too bad.
Right on. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you.